Part 10 in body piercing jewelry basics. Going to talk about genital piercings, penis piercings, and what gauge we normally pierce them at. Coming up next on Body Piercing Basics, episode number 153. For those who are new to the channel, welcome to the Body Piercing and Tattooing channel. Hope you're enjoying the videos. Hope you're finding it helpful and useful, but you might not know who I am. My name is DaVo. I'm a professional body piercer and have been since 1994. I own and operate the Axiom Body Piercing Studio, located right here in Des Moines, Iowa, inside Skin Kitchen Tattoo. Now, we're going to be talking about genital piercings today, or I am. If you're easily offended or do not want to learn anything about that, or, are in a part of the world where it's maybe not appropriate, or you're of an age that's not appropriate, please find something else to watch. There are plenty of videos on our channel that have absolutely nothing to do with penises or genital piercings or any of this, and are very informative and entertaining, I think. Now, if you're looking for something titillating and is going to excite you sexually, you're going to be disappointed. This is a fully educational-based video. This is designed for those that are considering getting these piercings, or maybe the partners of those considering it, or those that are just curious about piercing in general. This is not going to be fun times for you, I guess. A few things I always tell people to talk about with their piercer when choosing the gauge that they're going to be pierced at. Basically because it can kind of speed or help things or make your experience a little bit better. The first one is what is your end goal as far as jewelry? What are you planning on wearing in this when everything is healed and done? What gauge it is done at can dictate what jewelry is available in some cases. Second thing is, are you going to stretch the piercing? If you are, maybe piercing at a larger gauge would be a better option because it gives you kind of a jump start on that whole stretching process. The other thing is, do you have a lot of medical events in your future? What's the word I'm looking for? The other thing is, do you have any medical procedures in your future? Are you going to need retainers? Are those retainers available, etc.? What gauge you pierce at may dictate what retainers you can actually use, because there's not a lot of them out there in the super large gauge size, so you might want to talk to them about that. Starting with the foreskin piercings. Foreskin piercings are usually done at 12 or 10 gauge, usually done with circular jewelry. They can be done with barbells, but I don't really advise it. They tend to be fairly uncomfortable. Usually 12 or 10 or 12 is a good place to start. Doid piercings. Doid piercings are best done at, in my opinion, 14 gauge. They can be done at 12 gauge. It really depends on your anatomy and how much they have to work with, but that lighter gauge, that thinner gauge tends to fit better into the area and reduce maybe some of the rejection problems that doids tend to have. Prince Albert piercings. This one you can be pierced anywhere from 12 gauge up to 8 gauge, 6 gauge if you wanted to. The thing with this one is I usually advise piercing at 12 or 10, and the reason why is because this piercing will stretch on its own automatically. So unless you want to get to 2 gauge within a month, or maybe not a month, but a year, usually it's a good idea to just kind of start with a thinner gauge and slowly build up because of the association with urine and this particular piercing and leakage. Freedom piercings. Freedom piercings are usually done at 12 gauge or 10 gauge. Straight barbell standard on this one. I don't advise getting these done with rings or circular jewelry or curved jewelry. Lorums. Flip of the coin when it comes to jewelry style, but gauge, you want something 12 gauge or larger. Some people have kind of a webbing that appears right at that spot, and you can do these with a ring, but usually you want to do it with a standard barbell, but it really depends on your anatomy and what's the look that you're going for. Scrotum piercings. Scrotum piercings are done with rings. 12 gauge to 10 gauge is usually the most common. Gish piercings, usually done with a ring, or they can be done with curved barbells. I've done quite a few with those too. 12 gauge up to 8 gauge. This one, it really depends on what you want to go for. Having that extra tissue there and getting pierced at a larger gauge if you're planning on stretching might be a better idea, because this is kind of a surface-to-surface piercing that will kind of move if you overstretch it. Now we're going to get into some piercings that I don't do. First one is the ampling. Amplings usually need to be done at 10 to 8 gauge. They are a extreme piercing, and you really need to find somebody that knows what they're doing before you get it done. The same thing for this next one. Affidelias or Apodelvias. I'm never quite sure which way that should be pronounced. But anyway, also 10 to 8 gauge. You can do larger if you want to, but it's not necessary. Reverse PAs. These need to be done at 10 to 8 gauge. Now let's talk about a few piercings that are on the extreme level that I absolutely do not do. I don't advise getting these done unless you find somebody who has an extremely prolific amount of experience doing these. The first one being is deep shaft piercings, either amplings or affidelias. They also need to be done at 10 to 8 gauge. The last one is dolphin piercings. Not to be confused with dolphin bites. They're two separate different piercings. That's why when you call somebody to ask for pricing or to schedule or whatever, you want to ask for dolphin bites, not dolphin piercing. Dolphin piercing is a PA-style piercing that's done deeper on the shaft. This needs to be done at 12 to 8 gauge. Well, that's it. Covered everything I can think of. If I've missed anything, leave a comment. If you have any experience with these piercings and what gauge you were pierced at, go ahead and leave a comment. Till next time, here's hoping all your piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, I hope to see you for your body piercing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.